60 nominees, 38 are females, whereas 222 are males. They are also expected to provide protocol and administrative leadership in the next 3.5 years. For GBC News, Shelley Bewa reporting.
A local governance analyst, Dr. Eric Odro-Osai, has revived the debate for the election of Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives MMDCEs. This, he maintains, will enable the MMDCEs to be independent, serve the electorate diligently and help accelerate development at the local level. He is urging all interest groups to restart the conversation on the election of MMDCEs, indicating that Ghana has fallen behind some of her peers in Africa. In 2019, an attempt by the government to conduct a referendum to amend sections of the 1992 Constitution to make way for the election of MMDCEs failed due to the debate on whether it should be on party lines or otherwise.
The president, in announcing the abortment of the MMDC election process, indicated that he is stepping back for a national consensus to be built. NPP, in its 2020 manifesto, they indicated that they will revisit the issue of election of MMDCs. And I think the time is now. When we have an almost hanged parliament, the party and the government must make do their promise by starting the process again. And I want to believe that this time around, they will secure the required support or consensus so we'll be able to move the process forward. What we should know is that in amending the Constitution, there are two things involved. Amendment for the president amendment for DCEs to be elected is one thing, and then amendment for them to be elected on partisan basis is the other thing. Amendment for DCEs to be elected does not require a referendum. So I'll plead with Parliament that when it comes, they should give us the two-thirds majority. The amendment for them to be elected on partisan basis requires a referendum. So the citizens, to when it comes, let us support it if need be. Because when you look at our governance structure, that is the only deficit in our democracy. National level, president is elected on partisan. Members of Parliament are elected on partisan basis. Assembly members are even elected. We say not partisan, but some parties hide behind it. So why don't we go all out? And my proposal would be, let us elect chief executives on partisan basis, abolish government appointee in district assemblies, and elect all the assembly members. Then from national through to local government, we have all elective. By this, we'll have the citizens fully participating in democracy. If not, and we continue with this arrangement, then it means we are doing well in democracy at the national level, but local democracy is suffering.
If he were alive, he would turn 112 on Tuesday, September 21, 2021. Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was Ghana's first democratically elected leader. Several myths surround his birth and life as well. Ever heard of the magical Soble River? Legend has it that presidents under the Fourth Republic who took a dip in its waters were able to win the election for their party, and Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is believed to have taken a swim in this river whenever he visited home. We'll take you now to Nkrofo, the prominent birthplace of the independence icon in the Western region. This is Nkrofo's version of the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, built by General Kutu Champon in the 70s in honor of the Osajifo. Welcoming visitors and tourists at the hallway are some of the famous quotes of the Pan-Africanist.
We shall measure our progress by the improvement in the health of our people, by the number of children in school, by the quality of their education, by the availability of water, how the people feel comfortable.
21st September 1909, the hero of independence was born here in Nkrofo, in the Lembele district of the Western region. The setting of mud structures and artifacts are designed to depict the rural nature of the then Gold Coast, though some were the original items used by the household, preserved till date.
So this is Mamenya the Best Kitchen, and these are some of the original utensils that the mother was using. So the utensils were many, but when they were exhuming the body to Accra, they took some of the utensils along. So it was only these three things that was left here. And we have the oven that she used to smoke a fish.
This was the room Dr. Kwame Nkrumah shared with his mother, Madame Yaniba, during his presidency, which still houses his original spring bed.
And some of his stuff were here, that is his trunk, his clothes, his working stick. All of them were here, but when they just came for the body, they took all away to Accra. So it was only the bed that was left here.
As part of the memorial is the magical Soblik River, otherwise known as the Nkrumah River or Black River. Tour guide Stephen Tando shares two significant old tales of the river.
At that time he was in Accra, so before he come, he will send message that this or this time I'll be home. So they'll set the traps, and by the time he'll be home, then they'll get some fish and prepare something for him. So one day, he asked them to set the traps, and they told him that the river is dried, and he said this river cannot be dried. So when he came here, the river was dried, and he went back home and fetched 1 cup of water. So as he was coming, he came with his working stick, and he'd be pressing the working stick down there and be pouring the water down in the form of libation and praying as well. So as he finished and when he was going home, then it started raining. It rained, and this field was full up that day. So from that time, this river has not been dried again.
Ever heard of the story of presidents under the Fourth Republic securing a win as flag bearers of their party after bathing in this water?
I remember former President Kufuor came here and used some of this river. That he believed when he used some of this river, he'll become the next president. He used and he won to become the president. And our late president, Professor Amos, also came here, used this and did the same thing, and he also won. And former president John Dramani Mahama, when he was vice president, he came here and used some of this river when he was also contesting, and he also won, become the president. And in 2016, Nanadu also came here and used some of this river, and he also won to become the president.
Moved by the myth, these visitors decided to put their faith to the test in the hope of becoming like the man who shook off the chains of colonial rule.
And even the bad spirit that will look after me should turn its eyes off me. The blessing of God and this river should come over me.
There is a mystery behind this river, and it says that whoever casts or prays to this river, everything comes into fruition. Then it means probably if I'm to do the same, things also pan true for me. So I also have the same belief as the great man.
After his death in Romania, the remains of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah were repatriated to Ghana and buried here, attracting people from far and near to pay homage to the man many refer to as Nkrumah of Africa. It wasn't until the 90s before the late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, in consultation with the family, exhumed and reburied him at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park in the capital, Accra. Bearing the torch of Ghana and Africa, he says, "As far as I am concerned, I am in the knowledge that death can never extinguish the torch which I have lit in Ghana and Africa. Long after I am dead and gone, the light will continue to burn and be borne aloft, giving light and guidance to all people. If you have lost hope in life or your country and think the future is bleak, perhaps you could take a trip to this memorial to reignite your values, dreams and hope of a brighter and better tomorrow. Africa will rise again."
Central Command of the Ghana Armed Forces is sure the ongoing fight against illegal mining will be won. The issue came up at an anti-terrorism training exercise dubbed Operation Flaming Spears It was aimed at sharpening the skills of the officers and men, as well as testing their readiness to thwart any security threats.
The training involved soldiers from the 3rd Battalion in Sunyani, the 4th Battalion in Kumasi, and personnel from the Ghana Police Service, the Immigration Service, and the National Ambulance Service. It is to ensure that the security agencies are not caught off guard in times of security threat to the nation. Led by the General Officer commanding the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Joseph Apo, the training included a simulation in which the Chief Operations Officer, Colonel Emmanuel Jidu, said an informant had hinted a Bui Power Authority BPA security official that a crack team of tag explosive experts trained to sabotage operations intended to attack the BPA. He also said a distress call had been received from the night shift manager that he and 2 other staff members had been kidnapped by 3 suicide bombers and were being held hostage in one of the rooms near the cranes on the turbines. He said the kidnappers were threatening to blow them up if the suspects in police custody were not released within 2 hours. It was therefore the duty of the security forces to rescue the hostages and arrest the terrorists.
We had intelligence that a group of them had held some of our people hostage at a village called Bofukum, and they are demanding ransoms from the relatives of the hostages. Based on sound intelligence, we conducted an operation that was yesterday, and we were able to rescue the hostages successfully. And unfortunately, some of the suspects lost their lives.
The General Officer commanding the Ghana Armed Forces and the commanders of the battalion supervised the exercise. Speaking in an interview with GBC News, he explained that such exercises are crucial in keeping the troops battle ready. He assured Ghanaians of their readiness to counter any terrorist threat and win the fight against illegal mining in the Bui Enclave and elsewhere in the country.
The Accra Circuit Court 1 has adjourned to October 5, 2021 the case involving the head pastor of Glorious Word Power Ministries International, Reverend Isaac Owusu-Bempah, and 4 others. In court on Monday, September 3rd, prosecution prayed for more time to amend the charge sheet and the fact sheet. However, defense counsel Mr. Gary Nemako was opposed to the initial October 25, 2021 date suggested by the prosecutor. The court held that the extension sought by prosecution was too long and that 2 weeks was enough for prosecution to effect the needed changes in the charge and fact sheets, since the court would have to retake the pleas of the accused persons. Reverend Owusu-Bempah and his accomplices who were present in court on Monday morning are facing trial for offensive conduct conducive to breach of peace, the threats of death and the assaults of public officers. And Accra High Court on Wednesday, September 15, 2021, granted Reverend Isaac Owusu-Bempah and his accomplices bail after the Circuit Court refused them same when they made their first appearance in court on Monday, September 13, 2021. "50 young ladies from tertiary institutions in Accra have gathered under the umbrella of Huawei and the Ministry of Communications and Digitization to be equipped with knowledge about artificial intelligence technology. The drive is to help bridge the gap of women in the ICT space and expose them to opportunities available in the sector and become self-employed in the future.
The Girls in ICT initiative is a flagship program of the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. The program forms part of the International Telecommunications Union's initiative to encourage and empower young women to consider studies and profession in the ICT space. Also, it is to enable both young women and technology companies to reap the benefits of greater female participation in the ICT sector. Since the initiative began 9 years ago, over 7,000 girls between the ages of 9 and 15 have benefited. The 10-day training will cover emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and career guidance. In a briefing, the Director of Public Relationship at Huawei Ghana, Jenny Ju, pledged Huawei's continuous support for the ministry.
To promote ICT education and motivate more girls to consider taking up careers in STEM will contribute our culture towards the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals SDG 5, achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls through ICT.
The Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Mrs. Eslowuswe Kufo, said her ministry is poised at changing the narrative about technology being a male-dominated profession.
We've seen that when given the opportunity, our young people can innovate just as much or even more than their peers in other parts of the world. So it's incumbent on us to also give you that exposure, give you that opportunity. And where you have the interest, let's see where that can also take you. And I'm sure that before long, many of you will be doing amazing things.
She encouraged the girls to stay focused and committed throughout the training session. Madame Eslowuswe Kufo also commended partners for their commitment in supporting government's agenda to bridge the digital gender divide.
Though the contractor on the 100-kilometer stretch of the Bolgatanga-Boko-Mukum road project left site recently, he is back and working on the bridge of the Black Volta. Other projects scheduled for reconstruction include the bridge on the White Volta and the bridge on the Kula River that connects Bolgatanga Municipal and Bolgatanga East District. Our Upper East Regional correspondent Samuel Ayama tells us more.
Chukwuemaka Road has over the years been in a deplorable state and has always been the dream of the people to get it fixed by successive governments. The Chukwuemaka Road has been in a state of despair for a long time, and the people have had high expectations of seeing the road constructed. The road passes through 7 districts and 9 constituencies. 3 bridges will be constructed along the road on the Black Volta, the White Volta, and the Kula River. Residents in the communities and towns along the Bolgatanga-Boko-Pomako Road, including Zwarungu, Congo, Nangodi, Chile, Zebila, Kobore, Bazua, Boku, among others, have all heaved a huge sigh of relief following the construction of the road, and they have all commended government for the timely intervention. Today, we are on the road to speak with some of the commuters and the drivers who ply the road on daily basis.
I've been using this route regularly, but because of work, I can see that they are doing good. There's progress, working on the bridge. Actually, I think it will help. Also reduce the robbery cases.
Now you can use about 1 hour 30 minutes and get to Boko or Kosana and buy our Guinea fowls. When in the first time that we are using, we can use 2 hours or 2.5 hours for this route. But this time is now good. The government have done well for this route.
Contractors are doing very well, and I'm impressed about it. I also pray that they should keep on the work that they have been doing over here so that they will finish the road in a very short time so that we will be able to use it very well.
Generally, the project is anticipated to reduce and improve waiting and travel times within the Bolgatanga and Boku environs, with consequent reduction in poverty and enhanced development in Ghana upon completion. Good road infrastructure is a critical facilitator of rapid socio-economic development of every nation through the improvement of accesses, reduction in travel times, congestion, vehicle operating costs, and accidents. For GBC News, Samuel Ayama reporting.
A 7-unit accommodation facility for personnel of the Jura Fire Station in the Ashanti region has been inaugurated. At the official handing over ceremony, the Director of Logistics at the Ghana National Fire Service, DCFO Poache, appealed for fire stations in districts without one in the Ashanti region. This, she said, would enable fire officers to respond to fire incidents on time. Due to insufficient accommodation, majority of fire officers posted to the Ejura municipality are compelled to look for their own accommodation outside their station. To address this challenge, the Ejura Traditional Council funded the building of the 7-unit housing facility to accommodate personnel of the service. The Traditional Council has also made available a parcel of land for the construction of a fire service staff college in the municipality.
Assassin, are you ready? And home crater, you're ready. And chair, you're about to hand it over. I'm our headquarters.
The Director of Logistics at Ghana National Fire Service, DCFO Heroin Boache, said the gesture by the Traditional Council is timely because accommodation for staff of the service is a major challenge across the country. She asked for more fire stations to beef up the 23 stations and 5 fire posts in the Ashanti region.
19 political districts are without fire stations in this region, Ashanti region. The safety cover of these districts are provided by the closest fire station in other districts. This affects our response time, especially in instances where the distance between the nearest fire station and incident ground is far. We wish to use this platform to appeal to all stakeholders, especially the respective municipal and district assemblies, to aid in the construction of fire stations in such districts.
She commended the station for rolling out a fire safety intensification programs to acquaint the officers with modern techniques in firefighting. From January to 15th of this month, the Ashanti region has recorded 787 fire outbreaks as compared to 936 within the same period last year.
Two communities in the eastern region, Ado Nkwanta and Suprinso, now have access to the internet. This means inhabitants, especially women, can show their skills in a digital economy and lead the charge for change. Now, with the internet centers established by the Hunger Project in collaboration with Bluetown Wi-Fi, education in ICT will be prioritized in these communities.
As the world grows ever more digitally dependent, more and more of life's necessary activities have moved online, and those with slow, unreliable, or even no connection are rapidly at a growing disadvantage. For those living in rural and remote areas, and youth especially, access to the internet is the way out of isolation, a pathway to education and wider opportunities. The well-equipped internet centers at Ado Nkwanta and Suprinso would be a lasting social, economic and transformative impact in the lives of the people, especially women and the youth. The Hunger Project has existed since 1995 and is empowering community partners to end hunger and poverty. It was a collaboration with the Bluetown Wi-Fi to set up these internet centers using the Sustainable Community-Based Program with the Epicenter strategy, which is a dynamic center of community mobilization and action. The country director of the Hunger Project, Mr. Michael Afani, elaborates further.
I would want to appeal to the youth in these rural communities that as these facilities have been established and we are launching it today, you will seize this opportunity and use the internet facility. A lot of information are up there, and the Bluetown has put a lot of educational information in agriculture, in health, and in other areas on the cloud, which these youth can access.
Mr. Michael Afani said access to the internet in these communities would also improve the livelihoods of the indigents, hence creating a path toward sustainable self-reliance.
In our culture, our women are relegated to the background. But now, through this program, we want to make the women agents of development. or central agents of development. And so this is the time to also avail yourself to this digital system that has been placed here.
Through its integrated approach to rural development, the Epicenter strategy, the Hunger Project is working with partners to successfully access the basic services needed to achieve the sustainable development goals and lead lives of self-reliance. For GBC News, Oferiwa Dakon reporting.
The General Secretary of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union Ghana, Mr. Emmanuel Benima, has appealed to the government to prioritize technical and vocational education in the country. According to him, the country's universities cannot absorb all the students who wish to further their studies. Hence, the need to support technical and vocational institutions with the needed infrastructure and logistics to admit such students.
The quest for white-collar jobs have resulted in countless unemployment in the country. For most senior high school graduates, university education seems to be a preferred choice to that of the technical or vocational education, even if they have some skills that can be developed. The Deputy General Secretary of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union ICU Ghana, Mr. Emmanuel Benima, noted that vocational and technical skills programs are important and practical areas the government needs to support to help the youth to acquire employable skills.
Advanced countries have started with this and they are well to do today. So if these people are also supported, we will be there.
At the 17th graduation of the Ghana Hairdressers and Beauticians Association, GABA, 126 youth graduated in cosmetology and hairdressing. The Acting Director General of the Commission for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, CTVET, Dr. Fred Samoa, urged the graduates to help create more jobs by employing their peers.
TVET is not only about proficiency in English or maths, but it's a critical aspect of your learning. Technical and vocational education is a lifelong learning thing.
The Greater Accra Regional President of the Ghana Hairdressers and Beauticians Association, GABA, Madame Beatrice Santua Sante, tasked the graduates to make good use of the training they have received in order to meet current trends in the cosmetology and hairdressing industries. The graduates who were selected from 10 zones within the Greater Accra region received a 3-year training in cosmetology and hairdressing.
Jemine is standing by with the business segment. Please to stay.
Four steps to follow. To access a simple service like license acquisition, customers had to move from table to table, office to office, making the whole process very long and time-consuming. Some even resorted to Goro boys who would charge 10 to 15 times more than the original price. But now, the story has changed. With a more efficient system, 24 steps have been reduced to 6, saving you time and money. But it even gets better. You have the power to reduce the 6 steps to just 3 by accessing the service of your choice and generating your invoice online. Sounds good, right? No need to go all the way to DVLA to queue in these COVID times to get the basics done. Get online.dvla.gov.gh. Click on sign up for free, provide the right information, choose the service you require. Get issued with your unique invoice.
Sonata. You get a Sonata. And you can get a Sonata too.
Everyone's excited about the MTN Act 25 promo. Just keep using your MTN number and talk, text, browse, and more to gain points, and you could win one of 25 Hyundai Sonata vehicles and cash prizes each month in the MTN Act 25 promo. Dial *156# today and begin your journey to win big.
Hey, man, try.
Only on MTN, everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
Brought to you by MTN everywhere you go. Good evening and welcome. I am Dorothy Ajimai. The Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Mr. Wamkeli, has called for close collaboration between the Secretariat and regional economic communities, RECs, on the continent, describing the RECs, including ECOWAS SADC role, as crucial in increasing trade across the continent. Mr. Wamkeli said his outfit will draw on the expertise of the regional blocs. He made the remarks at the first coordination meeting of the heads of regional economic communities on the implementation of the AFCFTA here in Accra.
In order to support the implementation of the AFCFTA, regional economic communities would have to make informed choices about how to benefit from the AFCFTA, whilst at the same time managing the challenges that we may encounter during the course of implementation. Moreover, the implementation of the AFCFTA will likely influence future trade policies of regional economic communities, which is why it is so important to commence collaboration at this early stage of implementation. In this regard, effective collaboration between the regional economic communities and the AFCFTA Secretariat is necessary to ensure that the AFCFTA outcomes are consistent with the advancements and progress made in integration at the level of regional economic community. This new series of meetings of heads of regional economic communities and the AFCFTA offers us a unique opportunity to exchange views, to better understand the challenges that we all confront, and to work together to build consensus around common positions critical to our success at creating an African economic community as set out in the Abuja Treaty.
A 9-member delegation from Nigeria's Bank of Industry has commended the Ghana Enterprises Agency for its efforts to build micro, small and medium enterprises in Ghana. The team and their Ghanaian host will share ideas on how to improve on and expand operations of SMEs in both countries to leverage on the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. It was a forum to exchange and share. The delegation was impressed with the workings of the agency and how it has transformed from the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI, to Ghana Enterprises Agency, GA. A member of the delegation, senior analyst, internal operations, growth and partnerships, micro-enterprises, Nwosu Inameka, narrating the activities of Nigeria's Bank of Industry, said the bank is a development finance institution. It focuses on providing loan credit facilities for industrial development for Nigerian companies. The bank's mandate is to transform Nigeria's industrial sector by providing financial and advisory support for the establishment of small, medium and large enterprises through expansion, diversification and modernization of existing enterprises. Target areas in the subsector include agro-processing, solid materials, information technology, oil and gas and creative industry. The team's visit to Ghana and specifically GA is to build relationships, learn how the Coronavirus Alleviation Program Business Support Scheme cabas, and other products were implemented, and also network for partnerships. The Ghana Enterprises Agency is the apex governmental body dedicated to the promotion and development of the micro, small and medium enterprises (MSME) sector in Ghana. On the interbank market, let's have the performance of the local currency and the price of gold, cocoa and large crude from the Commodity Board. And everywhere you go. We take a break here and return with the energy segments. Please stay.
Let us tell you the truth, it's not the magic.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Ministry of Energy will soon begin the Public Facilities Sustainable Energy Action Plan. It aims at detailing energy use in public facilities as well as the framework for sustainable energy investments in public facilities in Ghana. At a stakeholder engagement in Accra to present, discuss and validate 20 action groups under the proposed Energy Action Plan, the head of renewable energy at the Ministry of Energy, Mr. Mahu, said the plan, when implemented,
will assist government in accelerating the processes towards energy transition in Ghana.
Renewable Energy at the Ministry of Energy, Mr. Seth Menu, explained that the Public Facility Sustainable Energy Action Plan will embrace the deployment of energy technologies and energy efficiency measures that will in the long run reduce the emission of greenhouse gases and sustain Ghana's economic development. Above all, he says the action plan will drive the government of Ghana's objective of recovering debt in the energy sector. He said the plan will help the government to address the fiscal imbalance in the energy sector as it tackles the energy consumption issues of the public sector and improves the revenues of utilities, reducing the cost of electricity, and also improving the governance structure of the sector. Project manager of the German Development Corporation GIZ, Mr. Benjamin Atiga, said the plan is a clarion call for an aggressive national commitment towards sustainable energy investment in public facilities through the collaborative efforts of all stakeholders. He said the action plan will significantly contribute to the upscaling of solar PV installations to about 1,150 public buildings and 50 water pumping stations under the first phase for a 5-year term in support of the government Go's solar initiative.
The Tema North District of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, is calling on residents to help the company protect its transformers in the communities from thieves who remove parts of the equipment. According to the company, such crimes often occur in communities 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. The Tema North District ECG manager Tamara Asumeni told the Ghana News Agency in Tema that the thieves break into the transformer stations to remove fuses leading to power outages in the areas. She said the rampant thefts of fuses and vandalization of transformers is a major source of worry. Mrs. Asumeni said even though the company informed the assembly members in the affected areas during an engagement with them last year to form neighborhood watchdog committees to monitor and arrest the perpetrators, no one had been apprehended yet. That's all in this segment. Health is next.
Good morning! Good morning!
Good morning!
It's a good morning and we serve you breakfast. Not just any breakfast. Sizzling helping. And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast. So what's your pleasure? Zamvotras, yeah? At that time of the morning.
You want it served buffet style, complimentary breakfast?
On-site restaurant?
Or room service?
We've got you covered. From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. With a trusted team. So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
you see that you've missed your monthly period, you have to report at the antenatal clinic. It is better you report early so that we detect any abnormality that you don't know. Anti-malaria preventive tablets that we used to give them every month. If you don't start early, how can you be prevented from malaria? If you don't come to antenatal early, how will you get the mosquito net that you are supposed to sleep inside? Some of the houses, they tell you pregnant women don't take snails, which we disabuse their minds on those things. Because if you take snail, it will help you with your protein process. If you are not taking the things that you are supposed to take, by all means, a
44-year-old Chukwuemaka has been diagnosed with brain tumor around the left of her head. Doctors say she needs about 30,000 Ghana cedis to undergo surgery at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Chukwuemaka, a mother of 4 and a trader, cannot walk well because of the condition. She now relies on painkillers to lessen the pain in her head. She needs 30,000 Ghana cedis for surgery for the removal of a part of a bone in the skull that caused her serious pains. According to doctors, Gifty's condition will necessitate the removal of a section of the bone in her skull called the bone flap. The bone flap will be removed temporarily and replaced after the brain surgery has been done.
Doctor kaka di ida ke ma collapse ano mafo bi ane infu ngbe o shikeke ntan lele fen ye nda mi no mi pa mo fi am fai mi pa gana ma bi fa fai mi pa nyame je kan nyame hi fa fai awusa mi pa mo fi am fai ke helani yo mi pa nya fa nya wa mi.
All donations can be sent to account number 0576651600001 0576651600001 Consolidated Bank Ghana, Apenkwa branch. Account name Juliana Tiwa Asari Boama or Momo number 059-680-8538. Julitap Ventures. No amount is too small to help Gifty. This segment was brought to you by Ernest Chemist. We have more news after this break. Do stay.
You're watching News Hour live on GBC News and News and Governance Channel. In news coming in from across our borders, a man who was portrayed in a film as a life-saving hero during the Rwandan genocide has been convicted of terrorism by a court in Rwanda. Mr. Paul Rusesabagina was found guilty of backing a rebel group from exile which killed civilians in attacks in 2018.
Rusesabagina's journey from celebrated figure to state enemy happened as his criticism of the government grew. In a period of 100 days from April 1994, 800,000 people, mostly from the Tutsi ethnic group, were slaughtered. In the Oscar-nominated movie Hotel Rwanda, Rusesabagina, played by Don Cheadle, was shown how, as hotel manager, he managed to protect more than 1,000 people who had sought shelter. But as his profile was raised following the release of the film in 2005, his criticism of the post-genocide government and President Paul Kagame gained a wider audience. Living in exile, he went on to lead an opposition coalition which had an armed wing, the National Liberation Front, FLN. The FLN was accused of carrying out attacks in 2018 in which the authorities said 9 people were killed. Rusesabagina's family have alleged that he was taken to Rwanda by force,
They have also said he did not have a fair trial.
Hello, good evening. Let's do sports now, and by kindness of Proster Joy, we start off talking horse racing.
First race of the day, the Lantejawe handicap. Pass. Away they go!
The Accra Turf Club and the Horse Owners Association, under the distinguished patronage of President Nana Akufo-Addo, is hosting the 2021 Home War Race meeting at the race course at Boteman. Among the crack horses that started the first race in Division 4C, 4B and 4A, dubbed the Lantejanwe pairs, and covered a distance of 1,400 meters, were I Know My Level, Freedom, Pegasus, Arab Contractor and Cedars. After 1 minute and 50 seconds, I Know My Level crossed the finish line. Freedom and Pegasus followed in second and third positions. The second race, dubbed the Usu Handicap, featured horses in the Novices 2 division such as Royal Queen, One Day, Shemungani, Manye and Fear of God. Royal Queen, ridden by Ishmael Ajay, steered her to victory in a time of 1 minute and 40 seconds. One Day and Shemungani followed.
The Usu Handicap is the lead horse numbers. Royal is in the lead now. One Day is Royal Queen, about 6 lengths clear from One Day, and then we have Shemungani. It's Royal Queen.
The third race was for the Novices 2 class, dubbed the Kamashi Handicap, rated Supreme Ladies, Michael Brown, Simplicity, Simply Great, Skylight, Bambi Banana, Silent Sea, Nzankala and Pablo. He covered a distance of 1,000 meters, approximately 5 furlongs. Jockey Alex Wusu steered Supreme Lady to victory with a time of 1 minute and 1.2 seconds. Michael Brown came second, with Simplicity, ridden by Dennis Ahina, coming third.
For me, I've never been to a horse race track to witness horse racing. To see the horses, you know, explode into speed and then speed off into the track, and then on the bends they're coming to the finish, the way they burst into the final laps. It's very interesting to see. It's also relaxing. It's an eye-opener, it's an eye-catcher. So anybody who is interested, I mean, even if you're not interested, just come over, come and have a look, relax. With time, I'm sure the place will be developed enough for us to have guests so that we can, you know, watch. You have more people watching, sitting down and watch.
So that's all for sports.